An interesting challenge, to meet the camera with a sense of worthiness for a camera. What does that mean? It means, you've got to be able to somehow stand the scrutiny, the exposure, the necessary on my feet, may I deliver something that be worth recording? What do you think? Ready to roll here? Let me get my computerized assistant here in order. The blessing of technology. What's wrong?
Oh, yeah.
I don't care how good or bad you think you are, what you do. What I know is that responsibility which I took on when Dick Price, who was my mentor, my sponsor, my Lord and Master, allowed me the opportunity to flourish. I swore to him, in whatever way you swear to anybody, I'll hold this space as you have, so people can be free and real and deep and rub each other the wrong way if need be, and it's fine.
David, let me say something to you. If you're not confused at Esalen, you don't know what's going on.
Some years after I was here, I had begun working on the immediate surround at the entrance to the driveway here, with the thought of an overlook that looked into the backcountry. So whatever I've done out here has been a kind of an homage paid to spirit, an homage paid to beauty, and the natural influences that give life a kind of magnificence. Yeah. So to be given a gift like this, you want to give something back to it. So the back to whatever it is I'm addressing here is a kind of powerful resonance that these lines I've been carving into the side of the hill, the images, anthropomorphic, mythic, etc., that are called forth by whatever the imagination evokes in those who look at it, including me, is the gift that I give back. There's a sacred quality to land that I hope in whatever way I'm up to here is to be seen and felt by anybody who takes the time to stop, pause and breathe it in and let it happen in these ways that are magical. The work I do out here is my equivalent of going back in time to the days when things were done in a far different way with a far different sense of timing. Ancient, really. So if you do healing work like I do, attitudinal influences that require a kind of depth and potence, if you put this rhythm in your body and your consideration about the way things work, you're given a kind of wisdom that only comes from doing something very slowly over a long period. How's that? In a nutshell, for why bother doing something so fucking weird that people scratch their head when they drive by when I'm standing out here in my bathrobe with a cup of coffee with a rake in my hand carrying on. And how peculiar and colorful a figure I've been able to become in pursuit of these odd things that I know have merit and that I'm hoping will be a pleasure for others as well. Anyway, it keeps me busy and out of trouble. Come to the Kashawa backcountry and take a look at the way things are in this really little world that we have. I think that this culture is a very peculiar and sweet one that's been able to, foster a certain kind of romantic reality. I'm not going to deny all of the low-down aspects of it that come from, living close to the bone. But in these times, it's refreshing to know that there are still places that have this particular feel about them, because it's a feeling that comes and goes with communities that serve the artistic and the criminal and the outlandish realities.
You know you got it if it makes you feel good. We're going to take a short little break.
Brooklyn, New York.
have been, still am in some ways, yeah. You know, New York at that time was a cauldron that seethed with the emergent Black Power movement, the Brown Berets, the hippies, you know, all kind of rubbing together in the scene down there. And it was a time of great fervence. So, you know, and then there was a psychedelic overlay because, you know, that particular reality was just kind of popping up into the general consciousness, but there was a lot of it going on before it revealed itself to the world at large in my neighborhood. So, you know, I'd been in a marinade of extraordinarily intense influences, and the organization that grew up in this time that I worked with was aimed at creating a variety of good influences in the political realm, fighting City Hall, you know, to put it in a kind of cartoonish way, creating alternative structures. We had a school, we managed to finagle a place up in the country.
I'm telling you the facts of my own life.
No, the facts of your life, I've been your friend for 45 years, are that you've been incredibly fucking lucky. Incredibly lucky.
Well, here's what I make of it. I make of it that I've been given an incredible run of good luck that I couldn't ask for, I would hope for, pray for, yearn for, as anybody might. And what I attribute it to is atmospheric.
You think you're causal in some way?
I think there's an atmosphere around who I am, what I do, how I connect, that allows people to feel goodwill to a degree that's exceptional.
Yesterday don't matter when it's gone.
Sorry, I didn't bring the tambourine. People don't know what it means. Martinis, what I was saying. They were saying we need martinis here. They were asking
She comes and goes.
guys working up there.
What makes this kind of mood a kind of an American spirituality, because it celebrates independence. California is the land of reinvention.
Yeah.
The culture here really is amazing in terms of whatever drew people into this part of the world to consider possibilities beyond what they were born into.
Yeah, but that is not an American notion. It's a European notion from the Romantic era.
Well, I would include that as an origin, but I would say that in terms of philosophical intention, you know, Americans' idea about
Yeah, but
liberty.
that's American exceptionalism, and not realizing most of these ideas come from Europe, or an interchange between.
May I be a patriot without feeling inadequate to my historical
No,
knowledge?
go ahead.
Certain risks involve hopes that your artistry, your spirit, your ideals fuel you to see as having value, and then you get catastrophes that come in. You know, are you up for it? And the question becomes, no, it's not a matter of am I up for it or not, because I have no choice about it. You know, this is a process where I got something to do I didn't want to do. I wouldn't even have thought of doing it, but here it is, I have to do it.
Many of the people who were around me were either indirectly or very directly affected by the Holocaust. You know, so that remained a pervasive reality that nobody ever spoke about either. And you know, over the years as a kid, nothing.
They didn't talk about
Even
it.
the ones who fled. My father fled, you know, right at the right time. He escaped and lost all his family because they, instead of coming to America, they went to Poland.
Oh.
Left Austria. Why don't you do that on your high drum? Real soft, real loud, soft again. Well, you know, I put myself in excruciating situations. You are an excruciating situation.
Compared to what?
Compared to not me.
You're a much more cautious man than I am.
Well, yeah, I am. Actually so. And I think, you know...
And, I listen to you, and I hope you listen to me, too.
I have, and I've championed the sense of what you're intending always. I mean, because I feel absolutely the same about the core values that we're both representing. We are defenders of the Dharma, you and I, so described. I
think it's true, and in a way, we're like old blues musicians faced with a bunch of corporate raiders.
So I'm wicked and you're warped. I mean, it matters of
That's what a record should sound like, wicked and warped.
I was warned from the very, very outset that there wasn't anybody affiliated with Esalen as a group leader who did not leave bitterly disappointed and angry. Beginning with Fritz Perls, Will Schutz, Virginia Satir, ad nauseum. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on. Esalen has many resources, and it has a variety of influences that if you're game or if you're driven to do something useful in terms of this idea of clear and deep self-engagement, there are many fruits that can be born out of the style of encouragement that Esalen has established. You old hippies, forget it. Look at what you created. What you leave as a legacy. Nothing except the turmoil of people being lost in drug hazes and overly exaggerated ideas about personal freedom and entitlement. You're a fool. We don't want to put that as the Esalen face. You may do things that are appealing or attractive or people like you, but they're old school too. What the fuck? You think we want to... Those are not the people we want to attract.
And yet...
They're the heart and soul of Esalen's life.
Starting to turn around.
They're the heart and soul of Esalen's life. Soulful life, depthful life, honest life, integrity, presence. I don't have to be a fucking, a mind reader to understand what makes people feel worthy. I've studied it for a long time and what contributes to it.
Oh, man, take a look at my life.
Changed entirely. It's just reorganized itself around necessary protocols of discretion, exclusivity. Fine. Jason Fan, the most incredibly potent vision of youthful activity Esalen ever possessed, left ready to kill everybody. I was ready to come back with a machine gun and go postal on it, because he was too much for everybody to take. He was too grand. He was too disorganized in matters of keeping his scene in order. It was a tribal scene. I've never seen Esalen more joyful than when Jason was in charge of it. He had everybody coming down. It reminded me of the days of old when everybody would come down here on a Sunday, eat, drink, and be merry, make music. Let's put on a play. Let's carry on. It was a resurgence of the most potent and creative energy I'd seen in so long. But he made people in charge uncomfortable because they thought the place was unraveling, going out of control.
This is the gentrification crowd.
Well, and he brought those black kids up from L.A. to do hip-hop. He put people into the population that he was told, well, listen, Jason, we do believe in social equality and opportunity, but this particular grouping is a hard nut to swallow, because these people from LA particularly who are coming up here to take a break complained to us that it reminded them of East LA, and that's not what Esalen is to them.
Esalen award this Doctor of Mischief and Moodology. to David Schiffman, DMN.
May I be forever venerated. I'm going to cherish it right where it belongs in my office, so I can look up and remember that I finally have been given my due.
Yeah.
I've got my doctorate.
Yeah.
Honest to God, what do you think? My mother would be very happy. So that exchange, you know, people really giving it a chance to be weighed in on and dialogued over and all that, to me was the most healthy thing. You know, Michael and Dick said nobody captures the flag.
It's Michael Murphy?
Yes, you know, this is a place where we want to give everybody a chance to get their time in the sun of exposure and let people make up their minds what should prevail. You know?
Right now it's also different. Like the last few weeks, both you and I have been moved into venerable treasures, kind of like, and worthy of being protected. I'm getting it from all sides this Christmas season.
Well, you know, you've kind of lived out the necessary antagonisms, and now you're being seen as a force for good.
Yeah. The blessing of girls. I miss the daughters, but I have the baby lettuces instead. You know, when I was growing up in Brooklyn, none of this could have ever been imagined. But it's never too late. It's never too late. Here's to all of you out there who would like to be quiet, learn how to grow lettuce in a deep and peaceful way, I hope. What do you think? Am I a testimonial to changing?
Come through come through and cut it like hair with scissors.
Uh-huh.
Remember, Dad, you've harvested this stuff with me.
I did the kale.
No, you've done this stuff. You've done this with me at Esalen years ago.
Oh, well, Esalen garden.
Yeah, don't make him turn around.
I think it's even 16 in the summertime. Wanted to go green here, right?
Yeah, like red, green, red, green.
Whoa.
Right, big guy. You do more that way.
You want to do a seed row?
I often wonder why they don't allow dogs in Esalen, you know. It's so funny why they would eliminate something so absolutely right on in terms of what's good for people to do. I'd love to have water coming down the whole front top of it. But you see too, this arm, boy, it's amazing how both breasts have a symmetry that I could not believe was there. And there it is. And then the torso on the left side of its configuration, you know, is just now coming down and the arm is rounding out. And this is the hardest material I've had to work on. It's really stone. I'm just about ready to fall on my face and
I fear my heart's real task. Softly, wordlessly, she calls me into this nameless rapture of 1,000 dreams.
time to call my wife. I couldn't get a hold of her last night. Out with the girls somewhere. She was. I'm gonna go sit in the doghouse for a few minutes while I remember my wife is actually on
your side. She is.
So I have a poem I'd like to offer up to her tonight that I think might speak to all of us about the deep sense we feel when we give ourselves over to love. To go on just as we are is my deepest hope. Facing even the fiercest of challenges with our hearts linked by the simple golden thread of love. Stronger than any chains that bind, and yet so light that we are free to fly as high and as far as we please and never be lost. Blessed be those who know this tie that binds us to freedom's light. May it always be there. Guide us.
Whoa. May it always be there.
May it always be there to guide us. In and out of the bathroom without kicking the plug out of the wall. May it always be there. May it always be there to guide us through the darkness of our differences.